In this video, we're going to take a look at the grill plastic part feature command inside of Autodesk Inventor. Here with the grill.ipt file from our working files directory, we can see that we have multiple solid bodies inside of this design, a top and a bottom. And on the bottom side, we would like to create a venting feature in order to allow some airflow to go into our design. Now, the sketch here is already created. And what you need to know about this particular sketch is the idea of a boundary, an island, ribs, and spars. Now the boundary is this overlying shape along the outside. You must have this for the grill command. I also have an island that I'm going to create on the inside, the circular shape. I have ribs that go across the sides here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now they don't have to touch the boundary, they can extend beyond it. They don't have to extend beyond it. I just am showing that for the methodology where you could do that. If you had them come up short though, for instance, if they were just inside the boundary here, they do not extend like a traditional rib command would. So either have them connect to your boundary or go beyond them. And then I have spar lines, which are 1, 2, and 3, that will act as a supporting structure for my rib network. Now this grill command doesn't have to take place on a flat surface. It actually will wrap itself to curvature as well. I'm just utilizing the flat face of this box for simplicity. So I'll go up to my grill command on my plastic part panel. And the first thing we have to specify is that boundary profile. I will go ahead and select it here. And let's take a look at some of the values we can adjust for this. Currently the thickness of this part is 1.5 millimeters. Now, if I want this grill boundary to extend above and below, I can actually enhance my thickness here. Right now it's at 2. If I make it 3, it's going to stretch a little bit above and a little bit below. So I have my total of 3 there. However, you'll notice that it currently shows 0 being raised above. So if I adjust this to be, let's say 0.5, it's going to adjust the grill to be 0.5 millimeters above. How about 0.75? So we have a little bit above and a little bit below. If we do the math on this, we have 0.75, then the 1.5 thickness, and then another 0.75 millimeters on the bottom side. We also have our thickness value here as well for the thickness of this boundary shape. Next, we'll move to island. You don't have to have an island. I just have one here, so I want to create it. I'll go ahead and select that circular profile, and it will become a solid island, as you see there. Notice it's going to take on the same shape considerations as your grill boundary. We can, however, add additional values to the island shape to give it more definition. Now you can see that I added the 1.5. I actually have a little bit of an internal opening on the bottom side of that island. If I return this back to 0, then that's going to fill in that entire solid shape with material. Next, I will choose rib. And here, I'm going to select our 6 rib lines. Again, you'll notice the default has it actually go to the top here. However, you'll notice there is area on the bottom where it is not filling in. We can adjust that with our values we see here. So currently we're 1 millimeter above. If I change this to 0, you can see it is not accepting that because that's our thickness value. One thing that I don't like about the grill command is how some of these dialogues here aren't entirely clear where all the arrows are going. So let's return that to 1 and make sure you can see that that is the thickness of the rib. The area that rises above is this value down here. Currently it's at 0. If I put -1 in there, you can see it doesn't make it go any lower. If I have this as 1, you can see it actually lowers that down. Here I'll make this 0.75. And then we have our height of the rib, which I'll change to 1.5. Next we have our spar, which will be a supporting member. So here I'll choose these 3 lines as my spars. Notice how it's building all these items on the center line, so it's building geometry out for both the ribs and the spars. Now for this particular scenario, I want to have it be the same as the rib. And you can see as I look in here, that geometry is lining up with the rib network just fine. Now I could have chosen those as a rib as well. However, if you wanted to have your spars be different, this is your ability to do so. If you want to have the spar geometry be a little bit slimmer, be a little bit thicker, you have the ability to change that here. So for instance, maybe I want the thickness of this to be 1.5, and it makes those spars a little bit wider than the ribs were. Lastly, we have a draft tool if we want to add draft to this geometry if we're worried about the pulling in and out of a mold. Now if we expand our chevrons down here, we can also see the flow area. So as we change geometries, if we adjust our thickness of this rib from 1 millimeter to 3 millimeters, by changing the value, we see the flow area reduced to 284.267 square millimeters. If I return this to the 1.5 or perhaps 1 millimeter, we can see the flow area update so we know how much air can actually flow through this grill. I'll go ahead and accept this by choosing OK. And there's our grill network. Looking at this, could you create that with traditional modeling tools? Yes, but the grill makes everything much faster.